It's the Harris Football Podcast with your host, Christopher Harris.
Welcome! Hey, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Chris, and this is a show about flora and fauna. Hello there. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to another week of getting you ready for fantasy drafts. It's a big week. We certainly have fantasy leagues that will be drafting this week or this weekend. La Liga Lebowski Original Recipe has its auction for veterans that are not owned on Thursday night. It's time to start thinking about the market and about value, and that will begin this week. We have ADP surprises on Tuesday. We have flag players on Thursday and Friday. Cousin Josh with the frag players. A lot of stuff going on, and that includes a lot of NFL news. The biggest that we know about as of my recording this, that we have any parameters on, I guess, is the rookie stud running back Jeremiyah Love suffering a high ankle sprain. Was it in an exhibition game? I kind of think so, but I don't know. Maybe they're not saying. But Love is now certainly done for the rest of August and into September, and will be in a race to be ready for Week 1. And meanwhile, the Cardinals haven't had James Conner, the Squirminator, or Trey Benson because of injury. There has been speculation that Conner and his ankle nowhere close and potentially just might be done. We will talk about the ramifications of Love's injury later in the show. He certainly got lower in my ranks as a result. Jordyn Tyson, another rookie, the receiver for the Saints, he pulled a hamstring, which kind of his move. He's now seeking out specialists, which sounds amazing. He's lower in my ranks as well. He will also come up later in the show. Tucker Kraft, I lowered in the tight end ranks. I originally had him third among tight ends because when he was great last year, he was really great. But he's coming off that torn ACL. It happened mid-season, so I was proceeding carefully with the hope that things would be normal. What do we always say? It's the negative stuff they can't stop from leaking out that we should pay the most attention to. And Kraft himself evidently called himself on a limited snap count for at least half the season when he talked to reporters this weekend. It's not like my rank change for him changes his overall rank that much. I still left him in the same group of tight ends in my combined ranks, but he's at the bottom of that group now rather than the top. I would still take him if he falls far enough. As you know, I'm usually not the person who's going to take a tight end early, so my preference definitely is to wait. And if Kraft is the one who falls way to me later in a draft, great. Emeka Egbuka has a toe injury that the Buccaneers have waved away to this point, but he's not apparently going to play in any preseason games. They're still saying he'll be available Week 1. I didn't move his rank, but I'm listening for more news. The 49ers can't keep any running backs healthy ever, it seems. Christian McCaffrey still isn't practicing. I think none of the three guys behind him on the depth chart are healthy either. So far, we don't have any indication that Tiny Bones CMC is in danger of missing real time, but we'll keep watching. Kyle Monangai hurt a knee in practice on Sunday. The Bears are saying minor injury as of my recording this. Breece Hall left practice this morning, Monday morning, with maybe a groin injury. They're speculating, but it was a non-contact injury. I don't have any additional information about that right now. That would obviously be a big one. Alec Pierce did not get the second PRP injection, apparently, but still not going to practice this week at all. So he will have missed all of training camp proper and will be in a race against time for Week 1 that I suspect he's going to lose. But he is still draftable if he falls far enough. He's got to fall far, you know. He's pretty low on the receiver ranks right now, but he's not unranked because I don't think at this point we suspect that he's missing the entire season. A lot of stuff. The ranks are updated as well as I can make them at harrisfootball.com. And then just a little reminder, I don't keep half PPR ranks explicitly because, frankly, there's not that much difference between standard and PPR ranks these days. But you can go to harrishalfppr.com And there's kind of an average. It's a representative of an average of my two sets of ranks. If you just need an approximation, there you have it. Now, for the rest of the intro on today's show, I wanted to talk to you for just a moment about rejection, but not in a discouraging way. I am going through it right now with this new novel of mine, Pound Foolish. Available for pre-order now. Get bribed. Go to harrisfootball.com. You'll find more info, and you can take a screenshot of your pre-order, and we're going to do a drawing late in today's show for another Zoom session with me, and lots more prizes to come throughout the rest of the month. But that's not really what I want to talk about. Rejection. We all go through it in all corners of life. It's a bad feeling, sometimes really bad feeling. If you listening out there are what they call a creative person, you are familiar with what it's like to hear no a million times. And even if you're not, come on. We all know rejection in various forms at work, in the job market, romantic partners, friends, relatives. It's on my mind a lot right now for a specific reason. But I was thinking that talking about it more generally might be helpful for someone out there to hear. In the case, this particular case of putting out a novel, I mean, obviously, rejection. In the case of Pound Foolish, I'm not even talking about the book getting rejected because I didn't even send it out this time because I just felt so beaten down from the last time I sent out a book. I kind of just decided I'm not going to do it. This time I'm just going to, from the beginning, I'm going to start Cumulative Press. It's a hard word for Harris to say, yeah. And hence the publishing empire was something. Cumulative Press, my massive publishing wing of my stuff. But even skipping the biggest source of writing rejection, which is the agents and the publishers, and I've had agents and I've had publishers, I've had them, I've been accepted, but I've also been rejected way more times than I've been accepted. Even skipping all that, it's hilarious how much no there is in the world. All these inquiries. Hey, would you be interested in having me on your show to talk about the NFL? Why we love it? Why sometimes it very much does not love us back? No answer. Hey, would you like a copy? I can see from your social media posts you like to read fiction. I got this new book. Would you like to have a look at it? That would be great. And then you get, like they always say, sure, sounds good. Here's my address. And then 3 months go by. Hey, I wonder if you had a chance to look. Crickets. That's happened with like a dozen people probably. Getting anybody to respond to emails? No. Even to some small degree, mentioning it on this podcast. Some of you have pre-ordered. Thank you so much. Most people don't, even when you're offered a free copy, which, that's different. That is different. But if you're not careful, you can all lump it all together into one thing. Geez, the world is not into this book. And I worked really hard on it, so the world is not into me. And that's where my complaining ends. It is really tough, yes. But the way I'm trying to think about this stuff is for all of us, no matter what kind of rejection we get in the world, it's okay. It's not the judgment of an unfeeling world. It's just that it's hard to get people's attention. You need a harmonic convergence for things to work out. And in fact, the number of rejections we get, whether it's for something creative or if it's for like applying for jobs or applying to college, swiping for love, we should wear that number of rejections like a badge. We shouldn't take it personally because mostly these people who are rejecting us, they aren't even really giving us a chance. They themselves are like hanging on by a thread and they almost certainly don't mean it personally. And we should take it as incentive to just apply ourselves harder, try harder, send more emails. I think this is partly probably me trying to psych myself up out loud in a public forum, which is a little embarrassing, but it's okay. Because I was having this conversation with myself a lot this weekend, and I thought, a little embarrassment, I can deal with it. Because I bet some of the yacht possums feel the same way sometimes and might like to know what's going on with me and that someone else feels something like what they do. So I'm not saying all this out of despair, but out of hope. It's not amazing to feel rejected, and there's certainly a lot of it going around. I wanted you to know that even I, a yacht captain, feel that way as well. And it does stink. Disappointments, the definition of the word, stinks. But when we can muster the strength to keep going, we should keep going. I sit and I write these books for months and for years. And when I was younger, did I imagine that I would have like a Big Five publisher? I sure did. Did I imagine I'd be reviewed in the New York Times? I sure did. Did I imagine I would get more publicity for a book? Definitely. But I still think the books I'm writing are really good, and I'm really proud of Pound Foolish. I am. I think it's the best novel about what football means in America that you'll ever read, to be honest. Maybe I'm delusional, but a little delusion, that's okay. And to spread it out to other things, whatever's going on in your life where you're hoping for a better outcome, I wish it for you too. And it's probably mostly not personal. And if we can, we should try when we can to wear rejections like a badge. And if we can go on, I believe in you. I hope you'll go on.
Today's kickoff.
Okay, on today's show, it's a rookie day. We're going to sort through what we think of the rookies so far, because we're halfway through August. And who else would you rather have to talk to you about rookies than the great Matt Waldman from the Rookie Scouting Portfolio? I will throw a bunch of names at Matt, and he'll give us some background and some analysis of the news that we've heard so far about these kids. And I think you'll have fun. And I thank you again so much for listening today. We are sponsored this season by Ridge. They make wallets. They also make chargers and luggage. I have the new Ridge 2.0 wallet. It is slim. It is sleek. It fits in my pocket incredibly well. It fits up to 10 credit cards. And it has an RFID blocking plate, so nobody can scan my wallet and steal credit card info. A strong recommend from me. And you should know that Ridge has a legendary sweepstakes. It runs through September 8th. This is their 6th annual giveaway. It is completely free to enter at ridge.com. 2 lucky winners get to choose between a Lamborghini Sterrato, a Ford Velociraptor, a souped-up Ford Bronco, or $100,000 in cash. You also get extra entries when you buy Ridge gear, but it is free to enter at ridge.com. If you're ready to upgrade your wallet and maybe your ride, go to ridge.com and enter the code Harris at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order and a chance to win an awesome car. Take the Lambo. No purchase necessary, but every dollar you spend gets you more entries. Really, check it out right now, ridge.com, and use that code Harris.
Today's guest.
Refresh us, your evaluation of Harris. Harris.
Harris is a guy, I think he's fine. He's in the top tier.
Of course.
Just in the middle of the top tier.
Interesting.
I think he's good, in theory.
Oh.
Nothing extraordinary.
Wow.
Diminishing athletic ability at his ripe old age.
Hey, wait a minute. He's my friend, truly good dude, Matt Waldman. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Chris.
He wasn't talking about me. He was talking about cousin Najee. We've been doing this so long that now Najee Harris is like not on a team. And that, or if he is, I don't know it. And that means we're old, but that's okay, Matt. That's all right. It's okay that you've been coming on my show long enough to have spanned a very dramatic running back's entire pro career.
Well, here's to us being able to span Matthew Stafford or Tom Brady's career. How about that?
Yeah, here's to that. I completely agree. Of course, you are incredibly kind to have been coming on the show for as many years as you have. You're wonderful. I know that the audience listening to this show loves you desperately and can't wait to have you on. If anybody doesn't know Matt's work, I really recommend just mattwaldmanrsp.com. That's the Rookie Scouting Portfolio, and It's just my Bible for rookies. I don't really pay attention to anything anybody else says. If people look at my ranks, my blended ranks, it's always like, why is that guy so high? He's not done anything in the league yet. And I'm like, because Matt said so. I don't know. These guys from a hole in the ground. It's because Matt convinced me. And he does the work. He's incredible. So Matt Waldman, RSP.com is the place to go. And so this is kind of a rookie catch-up show where... you've been on and we've talked our way through the running backs. We did the running backs with you, I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
And then I've read much of your stuff on the receivers. I have more receiver names, frankly, than running backs. Probably a better receiver class. Some names will go into depth because they've got some news associated, and some will kind of just give the quick gloss over. I started the show today mentioning Jeremiyah Love's injury. It's been confirmed as of, Sunday night anyway, that it's a high ankle sprain, and that is certainly going to put a damper on his redraft stock. But I just know that from having talked to you about Love, he's a prospect you're willing to call, the joke we have is that a generational prospect comes along every year. And you're not calling Love generational necessarily, but you definitely have him standing out above several years worth of running back prospects.
Yeah, he's up there with the guys that we've looked at over the years who are at the top of the list. I mean, certainly you could look at Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, and you would say Love probably is in that tier, maybe in the bottom part of the tier, but he's probably in it. And I think that what we've seen in camp is that you have some old school veteran coaches. They signed Tyler Algier to a pretty decent free agent contract for what a backup would be, or a guy who would be a committee player, and they're playing that game of let's hook the carrot and put it on a string and get Love to work for it, in terms of the starting role. And I think that we could see a world where Love, once he heals up, that he will have a split with Tyler Algier, and then an opportunity to really build that role and add more volume at Algier's expense. But Algier's a good screen player. He's a decent pass protector. He's certainly a physical inside runner and can handle a large volume if need be. And Love's going to have more of a, if you look at it, it could be kind of like an Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram role from way back in the day, where, Algier plays the Ingram role and Love plays the Kamara role, just not to the level of production probably that we saw from those Saints players back in their heyday.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the price is simply going to come down. It should come down. Now people will be screaming, oh, what value you'll be getting with Jeremiah. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm rarely going to be where the market is on rookie redraft, the number one guy. I mean, it's not Ashton Genty going 5 overall or wherever it was last year. That's nice. But maybe the market learned its lesson a little bit. Jadarian Price has also been banged up some in Seahawks training camp. Any threat of Zach Charbonnet making some kind of miracle recovery seems unlikely. And I would say my recollection is that you like Jadarian Price. I would say you're definitely in like with him, but probably not in love.
Exactly. I was in like with him. Charbonnet, I just don't believe is going to be ready. And if I have 1 year left and I'm going to be a free agent and I'm recovering from an ACL tear, no, I'm not going to be quite right. I don't think that he's going to be playing much or going to get a lot of time. Now, on the other hand, a guy I liked a lot relative to his draft position, which was he had no draft position, was George Holani. And Holani has started off in camp as one of the top 2 backs, and getting that opportunity to see enough time. And I think part of that is that he's a well-rounded player who can pass protect. He's a good inside runner. He's got quickness. He's got some power, and he can catch the football. So with Price, you're looking at a rookie who his pass protection needs work. When things at the line of scrimmage get a little bit dicey and don't go as planned, he can kind of stifle himself with his reactions, with his footwork, that kind of put him in a position where he can't really accelerate off to either side because he's got a little bit of wonkiness. He's got to straighten out. But I mean, overall, he's a nice dynasty prospect, as someone that could be a lead back in a committee, if not an every down back at some point. It's just that I think he's a little overpriced. He was a little overpriced as well heading into this, and I think that we're probably going to see a 2 or 3 headed backfield in that Seattle offense, and it's probably not going to be. He's probably going to have to compete with time with the former Packer Emmanuel Wilson, and George Holani, and I know that doesn't sound like much when you look at his draft capital. So if he can fall enough that you feel like it's worth taking a risk in the mid to, if he can be in like after round 7, round 8, if he could fall that far, then I think that's worthwhile for you to consider, as long as you're limiting your risk to him. But I think there's other guys I would rather take the risk on than a running back who might be a part of a 3-headed committee.
Yeah, they're all part of committees, but he's just not a superstar waiting to happen. I think that's the biggest thing. All right. Those are the 2 big names. And then we get to some names that have made headlines for various reasons. We got Kaelon Black, who when I talked to you on the show back in February, or maybe even March, we did not know his draft destiny at that point. And the 49ers, much to the chagrin of many draftniks, were mad by the Kaelon Black selection. Pre him being taken by the Niners, you were RB17 on him, and you comped him somewhere along the lines of maybe he could be Sean Tucker, maybe he could actually be you comped him to Jordan James on the same team. The issue we have right now is there's no healthy Khalil Herbert is the healthy 49ers running. There's no healthy McCaffrey, mentioned earlier, not playing. Black himself has an abductor strain, has barely done anything. Jordan James has a broken rib, not doing anything. Holy moly. How do the Niners keep doing this to themselves?
Yeah, it's that power plant, I guess, huh?
I guess.
Drew Davenport of Football Guys actually made an X handle called the electrical substation. And he tweets from
Got another one.
Yeah, exactly. He gets to play the villain. But I mean, Kaelon Black, like you said, I comped him to Jordan, so Jordan James. So when you look at that, hard runner, can catch the ball, good on screen, certainly someone that can pick up some tough yards. He attacks at the end of his runs, which a lot of bigger backs don't do well. He's versatile enough, and he's just a smart running back who may not have top-end speed, but you look at guys like Kyron Williams, and you could see how that maybe in a really strong offense, if Kaelon Black can distinguish himself, maybe he can grab a hold of the job if there's an injury to Christian McCaffrey that turns out to be long-term, or McCaffrey retires at some point. But right now, Herbert's probably the camp body, and they know that he's going to run things effectively because he's always been a smart interior runner. He's just not a great passing down back. So you're kind of getting a comparable
he constantly gets hurt.
Yeah, that too.
We loved him around here, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's dicey. You're probably going to see a running back 2 by committee for this team, and that just means that, and the Shanahan way has always been this way, even with his daddy. It's like, well, let's throw 3 up against the wall and see which one sticks, and
but when one sticks, it can be pretty valuable. And I mean, McCaffrey obviously is one we're all one play away, but McCaffrey's really one play away. Jonah Coleman, I don't believe a favorite of yours back when we talked.
No.
And boy, the same people that told me RJ Harvey was great last year are telling me Jonah Coleman's great this year.
It's kind of, it's kind of like, when are we going to learn? I mean, maybe it's me that's going to have to learn, and Jonah Coleman turns out to be fantastic. But when the Broncos talk about players, people get overly excited because Sean Payton likes to use archetypes, and then he names players that he had, and people get a little too excited and then they realize, oh, Sean Payton uses committees and uses pretty distinct 3-back committees often with a lot of players. And Coleman can run Coleman can run where the crease is open. He's going to be able to find the open crease. He'll be able to set up some open creases pretty well. I did not see great burst out of this guy. He certainly has the size to run through reaches and wraps. He should be a harder runner than what I saw. He can pass protect and he can catch, but the lack of acceleration and long speed and the lack of ability to truly be like a high-end tackle breaker, contact balance back that you would see from even, say, I don't know, Ramondre Stevenson's a good example of a guy who's slower, who runs with terrific contact balance and can plow through people. I don't think Jonah Coleman's as good as that. And I think that we're going to see J.K. Dobbins continue to be the main guy. Coleman will probably get some sort of short yardage role early or red zone role early and see what he can do with it. But I don't think he's going to get like the red zone role. I think you're going to still see J.K. Dobbins collect his in that area. So
Harvey will just catch 500 5-yard touchdowns and drive me crazy.
That's right. Maybe, I mean, to me, like I'm going with the passing game and J.K. Dobbins in 7th, 8th, 9th round, wherever he is right now, if I can recall, if I can get him as my running back 4 in a league where, I'd be really happy with that.
Even as a flex, I'm okay. I'm with you. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
He's got to stay healthy, obviously.
Yes. But he remade his game. Like my buddy Brandon Angelo, who's a trainer of NFL guys, said he's the gold standard for a guy that got hurt and had to remake his game because, you remember him at Ohio State, and he had electric acceleration. And to me, he was 1-2 with Jonathan Taylor in that draft class. Like they were the top 2 backs. And, the injuries he went through, he never got hurt at Ohio State. And then he's had to go through 2 catastrophic injuries. Yeah. And, we'll see what happens. But I admire his grit. And, as a running back 3, sure, I'll take the chance.
So Nick Singleton, I recall you as being, I would characterize it when we talked as intrigued by, because clearly there's a lot of raw material. He was awesome as a freshman and recruited, to be the next Saquon, to be the next Adrian Peterson, to be, look amazing in the uniform. And then I think you think maybe he got unfairly dinged for stuff that happened around him at Penn State.
Yeah, I think Penn State's program was going through some troubles in terms of their coaching staff and how they executed, and certainly players can have a big part in that. And they had a quarterback in Drew Aller who's, at least week 1's preseason hero. You can put him in there with, Skylar Thompson and who's a Bruce Grakowski, or even I can't remember Ryan Huntley, I think that was his name. And say they're preseason all-stars, but they don't amount to much. And I think Drew Aller's got a long way to go. But when you look at Singleton in that offense of Drew Aller, they had to simplify a lot of things. I think that they also made very static roles for a lot of their skill talent, and defenses kind of were able to predict that. I think Singleton's a better back than maybe how people portray him to be. And I think, he's in a good backfield overall as a first-year guy that I don't think he's going to get a lot of time this year. But he's certainly worth holding on to in a dynasty format, or if injuries mount, that you take a waiver wire dart throw on him.
Love it. You had, before they got drafted, you had Emmett Johnson as your number 2 back in this class, acknowledging that it was kind of like horses for courses, which whatever flavor you wanted. Putting Nick Singleton and Emmett Johnson in the same, they're not the same kind of running back. Emmett Johnson's a smaller guy, a quicker guy, likely to be a receiving type guy. And then he has the good/bad fortune of going to the Chiefs, where he's not allowed to just develop in peace. Suddenly he needs to be the running back who was promised, And I know Ken Walker also wound up there, but I think Johnson might get drafted in some leagues.
I think he might too, because I think everybody knows that it's hard to imagine a world where Ken Walker stays healthy the entire season. So that's part of it. Now, Amari DeMarcado is certainly a fine journeyman backup who can give an offense some, decent opportunity, decent production in a role where, he's not the every down back all year, but he can certainly do the job as a receiver. He's got some speed. But Johnson, I think long term and maybe even short term, because I think he'll be a quick learner, excellent footwork. I think he's a lot quicker than people realize. He has better contact balance than people realize. He's a very smart runner who's creative. And I think that we could see a world where if injuries mount and they're like half season, full season type of injuries, Emmett Johnson could be that guy who basically flips the fortunes of a team. He has that kind of skill to him. He had a nice preseason game I heard this weekend, and he had some nice gains. But I mean, I would say more than anything, you just look at his tape at Nebraska, and you see, the type of runner who, if the NFL team that drafted him doesn't get too hung up on 40 times and measurables and actually looks at the film a little bit more often, like the people who overrule the scouts pretty often in the NFL, those type of guys, if they can like get past their 40ism, I think that we'll see Emmett Johnson shine.
Can I tell you how annoyed I was trying to call a company last week? I was trying to give them money, and they didn't answer, so I gave up. It was on to the next option. That's why Quo is sponsoring, spelled Quo. It's the business phone system built so you never miss a call. Quo is something any business with a front-facing component should consider. All your calls, texts, and voicemails live in one place, so anyone on your team can pick up a conversation, see the full history, and respond fast. And as would have helped in my case last week, Quo has an optional built-in agent that handles after-hours calls or calls when your team is busy, so you never miss a lead even when your team is offline. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses who rely on it to stay reachable and look professional every day. Set up Quo on any device, keep your existing number, add teammates as you grow, no IT, no hassles. Money is always on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/Harris, quo.com/Harris, quo.com/Harris. Okay, we're back with Matt, and I have a couple more running back names to run by you. Then we'll get to a list of wide receivers. It's not like, I'm a Patriots fan. I'm not watching preseason games, exhibition games, because I think they're useless. But I did hear from a little bird that when they did the joint practice with the Colts, they were kind of gobsmacked by Seth McGowan. They said they did not expect him to be as good as he was. Very late round draft pick. It sounds like DJ Giddens could be in trouble for the backup job behind Jonathan Taylor. Not that we're drafting Seth McGowan, but I wondered, just, is that gratifying to you at all to hear?
Honestly, not really. I mean, I just thought he was a hard runner. He's good in a gap scheme. That fits what the Colts like to do. He's got good speed. And I think that with DJ Giddens, I mean, I feel sad for him, but DJ Giddens last year, I was like, this is a talented guy who every play you watch on tape, there's something that needs to be fixed. Like, it's just like he never ties it all together, and he should be able to. And I can see how McGowan's going to have a good shot of overtaking him as a result of that. And I would say that if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt for a long period of time this year, you're going to see Seth McGowan and Ulysses Bentley as a kind of a cohort backfield, with Bentley being the scat back who can catch out of the backfield, and McGowan be the guy that occasionally get a screen or a swing pass, but he's going to be the 2-down back, with Bentley being the passing down guy.
And then the Vikings took Damon Claiborne, another dude you like, really small, a hard demographic to be good in fantasy. Running backs who are that small, but sometimes it works out. They have a couple of guys, but Aaron Jones gets hurt all the time, and Jordan Mason, for as much as I think most of the guests that have come on the show have been kind of like, why why is Jordan Mason going so low in redraft leagues? He still has spit the bit a couple of times, so there could be some waiver appeal of Damon Claiborne somewhere down the road this year.
Yeah, in 20-round leagues, I'm drafting him just as a dart throw because I think pound for pound, he's the most exciting back that's in this class. Pound for pound, he is, and that's, he doesn't weigh that much different than what we saw from James Cook or Aaron Jones when they were rookies and came out of school, and those were the two backs I compared him to. So for me, I think my biggest concern is Kyler Murray gonna play a level of football that he's capable of but never has, which is, step up in the pocket and hit the convenient second or third read, or throw the ball away, rather than tire out his offensive line, tire out his receivers, and then basically tire out his coaches, and wind up somewhere else, this time as a for sure backup. Because if he plays like he's capable, then I think the running game could really benefit from that. But if he doesn't, you're probably going to be looking at your one lead back, whoever your number one back is, and if that's Mason, great. And then you're going to see occasional play from Claiborne that will be promising, but you may have to wait till next year. Or I think, TJ Hawkinson's going to be really happy, but Justin Jefferson's going to be seen on the sidelines getting suspended for beating up his quarterback, and then Jordan Mason running across the field to help him, because that's kind of, if you read the headlines from the Cardinals, I mean, even Trey McBride was like, I should have gotten even more targets, but he was skipping Marvin Harrison Jr. to get to me. Or he was skipping, So, it's one of those deals that I am not confident about the Vikings and in any way, shape, or form unless I'm Justin Jefferson. That would be about the only guy I'm picking on that offense. But Damon Claiborne is a dynasty. I would take him.
Okay. Speaking of whom, we're going to go to wide receiver. We have Justin Jefferson Jr., Carnell Tate.
Yes.
You love Carnell Tate, and I'm going to guess that you find his ADP appealing.
I do, because I can get guys like Parker Washington and Michael Wilson after I get Carnell Tate. So if I'm going to take a chance on a wide receiver who's really doesn't have a track record in the NFL, it's going to be Carnell Tate, because he can run all the routes. They're putting him at Z, which means that he's going to get his share of short and intermediate routes too. And he's a better runner after the catch than people think. And like I joked on in my scouting report, I think Justin Jefferson was moonlighting as Carnell Tate at Ohio State. I think that's like, I'm being facetious, but Tate is someone that is skilled enough that I think that he can be a 900 to 1,100 yard receiver out of the gate. And so if I can get that, and I'm picking him as, say, my wide receiver 2, but I know I'm getting 2 receivers that I believe are going to be as good or better than him in Wilson in the 7th, 8th, 9th round, and in Parker Washington, who I might take a little bit earlier than other people take him at the 4th or 5th round. I still feel like I have a good receiving core out of that, even if they're not an established name core.
Right, because you think he's probably...
I think I'm right.
Right, he's probably a 6th round pick, Tate is, and that's about where I have him ranked. And I never am like that, but I am like that because of you, because I read the RSP. And the reason that you're phrasing it that way, which is to say I can take Parker Washington, who's going to be better after Carnell Tate. If Tate hits his ceiling, he could be 1,700 yards. Like, Parker Washington's probably not going to do 1,700 yards, which is why you would be willing to spend the slightly earlier pick on Tate. So
that's exactly right, because I see Tate having, to me, maybe not that high of a ceiling, but I get your point. And that's definitely high-end receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1 value out of him that I see as a legitimate ceiling, as a guy that's going to be catching a lot of targets from Cam Ward.
I think we're gonna be in on Tate on this show. The next 2 guys, I don't really think we need to spend too much time on because they're hurt. Makai Lemon and Jordyn Tyson. I have to imagine that as this injury news gets sort of, filters out through ADP out there, they have to come down. They'll get drafted. But, I mean, Makai Lemon hasn't been on the practice field for a while, as far as I know. Maybe he's just back. And then Jordyn Tyson is going to see hamstring specialists. I think the dream of those guys being like, oh, who else is there? No doubt wide receiver 2s on their own team. So they're fantasy starters. Like, I think that has to be out the window to start this year.
Absolutely, because you still have Dallas Goedert, you still got Devonta Smith in Philly, and then they've got Hollywood Brown and Dontavian Wicks as guys that they
There's always
can
someone
kind of
else.
rotate.
They got
in
guys.
There. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like Lemon, but none of those guys are replacing A.J. Brown, and that's who they lost. And then you see who they picked up. So when you have multiple wide receiver 2s and 3s, you don't really have a wide receiver 2 and 3. And I expect that I think that Philadelphia is going to struggle this year. I think even though the offense has changed and they're saying, well, our coordinator was awful, and there was some truth to that, I think that this is going to be another adjustment year, and a lot of heat's going to be on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and so like both of those guys, both Tyson and Lemon, the Lemon injury has filtered through ADP, so he's really almost not a top 100 player anymore, which is correct. He shouldn't be, because we don't know what he can do because he hasn't done anything in camp. And Tyson isn't down there yet, but I assume he will be because this injury just happened. So they're well worth drafting, but I don't know that you're going to wind up being the most aggressive drafter in your league.
Yeah, Tyson to me is a landmine. He's unbelievably talented, but the way he moves, it's very dynamic, but in an aggressive movement style that has gotten him hurt a lot. And it also makes him a little unpredictable with the processes he needs to execute as a route runner and pass catcher. So he has some plays you look at and you go, wow, this might be the best receiver in this draft. And then there's plays you go, wow, he better fix this stuff or he's never going to be on the field.
So we have the two Browns, and I've been hiking them up little by little because they've proven to some degree it feels like there's enough. I mean, it's Jerry Jeudy, for God's sake. I've been making a lot of money doubting Jerry Jeudy for a long time. Concepcion has seems like staked his claim to be the slot receiver, and so in a PPR he gets still outside the top 100 for me, but he's draftable. And Boston as that outside receiver that we could never keep Cedric Tillman healthy. They both should be drafted. They're gonna have rough times with the quarterback potentially, but maybe the new coach and they figure things out. Whatever. I'm not gonna damn a situation that makes me not indulge in two talented players in the double-digit rounds.
Yeah, they're both talented guys for sure. And if the Browns can get a quarterback, then I think they both have, starting wide receiver potential in fantasy leagues for years to come. If I had to choose one that I'm going to take a chance on, it's probably going to be Concepcion, just mainly because Todd Monken's offense ran through Zay Flowers last year. It ran through Ladd McConkey when he was at Georgia. And Casey Concepcion is more the archetype of that type of receiver and the role that they're going to use. Whereas Boston may be making exciting plays along the boundary, which is catnip for media. But I think that once they start facing defenses that where reading the field is going to have to be, a high priority as the defenses are changing, between pre-snap and post-snap. The outside receiver in that look, I mean, that's going to be a little bit more difficult for Boston. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for his quarterback. So Concepcion to me is the safe play, even if Boston may be having a lower ADP. But that might change just because so many people are talking about how good of a camp Boston is having and that he looks like the best receiver on the field. If that happens, then you definitely want Concepcion as the bargain.
We are sponsored today by Dose, D-O-S-E, a delicious juice that helps self-manage cholesterol levels. I have been drinking a little 2-ounce shot of Dose each morning. It is delightful tasting. It is mango with a hint of ginger, Dose targets triglycerides, LDL, HDL, and total cholesterol levels. And I have looked at the ingredients. It's turmeric, gooseberry, a natural antioxidant, other plant-based ingredients, nothing crazy in there. Tastes great and is clinically proven to aid cholesterol levels. If that's something you've been thinking about, I'd recommend giving it a try because it's 2 ounces a day. It tastes good, all natural. It's an easy habit each morning. If you'd like to try, new Dose customers can save 35% on your first month of subscription by going to dosedaily.co/Harris or entering Harris at checkout. That's dosedaily.co/Harris for 35% off your first subscription month. We are back with Matt, and we got more receivers to talk about. I wish I had a lot to talk about with Omar Cooper, the remaining first-round receiver, but I think we've kind of already been told that he's not going to start, which feels not amazing for his prospects this year. I kind of wanted to believe because the Indiana story is so awesome and you kind of like a bunch of winners and somehow figure it out, and he apparently didn't figure it out too fast.
That happens, and some guys need a couple of years and they figure it out and get together. And also maybe A.D. Mitchell finally does play to a level of promise that a lot of people felt he had to be that number 2. I just know that, the Jets be Jetson. So it's, I'm more in the mode of prove me wrong. Okay. With those guys. Yeah.
All right. So then I'm going to hit on some names that are jumbled up from anybody's pre-draft order because they've just landed in camps where they were given opportunities and or taken advantage. Seems like they've been taking advantage of those opportunities. And let's get deeper scouting reports on them. So DeJon Stribling, did not talk about him when we did receivers on the show back in April. Had no conception that he would be the 33rd overall pick. And again, I'll say it, that when Mel Kiper is mad, it makes me laugh. And I root for those prospects. I'm thrilled because as if, I mean, you know better than me and anybody else, like as if there's a right way to draft, as if there's a right order. And if you deviate from that order, you're a fool. You're a fool, I tell you. The Niners just don't know what they're doing. Okay, man. But it has seemed so far, granted, it's easy to be positive in camp, but it seemed so far that in a position of need where everybody seems to be getting hurt on that entire offense, DeJon Stribling is showing out pretty well. What did you think about him as a prospect before all this happened?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a massively strong grade on him because I think as a route runner, he didn't show as much as I'd like to see. But, big, fast, strong, someone who can run after the catch, someone who can win contested plays. And Brock Purdy already says that he already trusts him as a route runner, which is a really great sign because Purdy is a conceptually strong quarterback. And after, looking at him and thinking about post-draft with him, I thought, well, if there's a player that I would bet on being wrong about, and I'm going to be wrong about plenty of players, but the one that I would put at the top of the list would be Stribling. So when you look at him, they wanted originally to put him in the Juwan Jennings role as really a third receiver, a big slot type who can work I call him the Kenny Golladay, Chase Claypool routes, where you can just be tall, you can go up and get it, and they're going to create matchups for you because the opposing defense is really scared of the other players, and that way they make earlier priorities with rolling over their coverage or playing tight against those other defenders or against those other receivers. That's what happened with Chase Claypool. That's what happened with Golladay early on in their careers. So I think that's what they wanted to do. But if everybody continues to stay hurt and they actually need Stribling to be in, say, Mike Evans' role, I mean, he might be able to give you 800 to 900 yards, maybe even more than that if he plays all season. But it's not going to be good for the 49ers if he's their number one receiver right off the bat, because he's still going to be limited in reading the field. And I think that Stribling is the best of the guys we're going to talk about in terms of opportunity that he has to put up good numbers. And all the guys we're going to talk about, I think, are all what I would joke as they are catnip for mini camp because it's all big, tall, long, fast, can go up and win fade routes at the boundary, and suddenly you get you get the fetishization of basically acrobatic catches rather than did they read the coverage right? Can they run?
Yeah.
Can they release? Can they run good routes against man coverage? Can they discern zone in a smart way? And that's the part that by like late August, the quarterback's then saying to them, well, he's got to learn the offense better for us to get him on the field after we get weeks of like oohing and ahhing because they're making highlight plays.
That's a wonderful characterization. And yet Stribling goes so late in redraft leagues that
I'm
I
taking
get
him.
Yeah, in the 14th round, I get him every time. Like, I'm just, whatever, I'll take the lottery ticket. That's a mess. And Ricky Pearsall ain't coming back. And Mike Evans looked kind of bad last year. And, there's,
They
anyway,
need him. Yeah.
They if he's good enough, they need him. But it's a great point that you're making, and it's being impressed upon me that he's not a technician. And that most of these guys aren't going to be technicians. Like Jacoby Lane, to me, the person who's stupid, I thought Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt were the same person. They just were hyphenated because they were both taken in the mid rounds by the Ravens. And who knows? I don't know. I can't. And it's pretty obvious that what has stood out so far to anybody watching these practices and scrimmages and stuff is that Lane is well ahead of Surratt and potentially threatening Rashad Bateman. What's your evaluation on Jacoby Lane?
He certainly could be the college entry for the Pacific region in the Matt Waldman RSP Brandon Lloyd Acrobatic Catch Invitational. So he definitely, one-handed catches, body control, it's all there. The thing that wasn't there at USC was, flat breaks, being where he was supposed to be in a zone so that his quarterback wasn't throwing interceptions or putting his quarterback's target in harm's way because he cut off his route too early or didn't know when to cut off his route. Things that Treylon Burks had problems with at Arkansas to a large degree, but people loved his size and his ability to go up and get a ball. So I think Rashad Bateman's kind of safe. I've been taking him in the 18th, 19th round because he's saying they're moving him around all over the formation, which I also kind of like and go, well, I know everybody's down on him and say, forget it, but it's a dart throw for a guy who could wind up number 2 in a new offense. Why not? But Lane to me is let's wait and see a year or two before we get too excited about him.
Kind of another athlete and not needing to chase. I mean, when the spectrum you're comparing him to on is George Pickens, Chris Henry, Justin Hunter, I go, oh, there's something in common there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
There's a knucklehead factor. Not necessarily that Lane's a knucklehead, but just a wild card factor. Can you be sure when they're going to be?
Yeah, and that's right. That's exactly it. I mean, Jaden Blue, the running back, was a knucklehead factor last year. And by all accounts in Dallas, they're saying he's figured out how not to be a knucklehead. And it's not just off the field dumb stuff. It's more, do you know how to work? Do you know how to be a professional? And some guys don't know to. Yeah.
How about Ted Hurst? Another one we're saying. I mean, I guess Jalen McMillan has been battling a bad knee throughout training camp, and so Ted Hurst, another big fast guy. People are saying he's got a chance. Does he have a chance?
He does. I mean, but again, it's going to be a limited role for him because he's not unbelievably advanced. I would say that if he were to get his act together in the next 2 to 3 years and really become a fantastic worker, like a Tom Brady-like worker who just or Stephon Diggs-like worker and really figures out how to accelerate fast, he could maybe have a little bit of A.J. Green type of skill in him. But I think that if he just progresses as he naturally could and he's good enough, that he's more T. Higgins. It's the same team that I'm comparing him to, but different ends of the spectrum of receiver. He's probably more of a go up and win it guy who's never going to be a great timing route runner, but you can use him on the outside, kind of in that Mike Williams, the big Mike Williams, the medium-sized Mike Williams, and the T. Higgins type of role. So it might happen for him this year that they have to go with some of that, but there's enough weapons in Tampa Bay that I don't see Hurst suddenly becoming an 800, 900-yard receiver out of the gate.
All right, now we're gonna hit a guy I know you like. All right, a bunch of names you're lukewarm on, and I wish I could get Makai Fields higher in the receiver ranks. It's almost not his fault because Jackson Dart. That's something you're not gonna be able to convince me of. But hey, like, he scored a touchdown in an exhibition game, and by all accounts has not spit the bit in camp. Tell us why you like Makai Fields.
He's a much better route runner than all these other guys that we just have been talking about. He actually can run intermediate timing routes with flat breaks and good technique. He's someone that has excellent short area quickness and initial acceleration. And then once he gets position on you early in the route, he can use his size to win downfield and win the ball in the air. So he's got that flashy part of him. And then after the catch, he makes multiple people miss and he can run through you. So it's not surprising to me that he's actually in contention for legitimate playing time as a rookie, but I'm totally with you. Like, he's a good dynasty ad, and he's a dynasty ad that I've said that is underrated, but that's because I'm counting on Jackson Dart to go the way of Will Levis. Basically, to me, Jackson Dart has kind of a Kyler Murray-itis with his game, in the sense that he also tries to bounce everything outside rather than stay in a pocket. And unlike Kyler Murray, Kyler can actually throw the ball more than 25 yards downfield with accuracy and good footwork. Whereas that's why I'm so frustrated with Kyler. Like, everybody who listens to my shows each week, I probably pick on Kyler more than anybody by probably 2 or 3 times more. And it's just because I think he could be such a better player than he is. Whereas with Jackson Dart, I'm just like, okay, he runs. That's great. Teams are going to finally go. I'm glad we saw what we needed to see last year. Let's shut some stuff down. And that's probably what's going to happen. So Fields, to me, I would rather have somebody drop him out of frustration from what Jackson Dart did. And then, Jameis Williams comes on, and then Makai Fields can, you can pick him up off the waiver wire, and suddenly, Jameis is treating him like he was treating Mike Thomas back in New Orleans, when Thomas was healthy for a game and a half, and, peppering him with everything he got. And I could see Fields in that position with famous Jameis.
All right. Brass tacks here. I currently wasn't able to get Makai Fields in my top 80 redraft receivers.
Yeah.
But I have him in the 80s. I have him like 87 or something. Should I I have Jacoby Lane in my top 80. I have Ted Hurst in my top 80. I have Omar Cooper still.
I would jump him over all those guys. Yeah.
Boom.
I would.
Done.
Yeah. Do that. He's still he should be 72 or something, but as far as I know, I would do it. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do it. He's going to get a profile in the update of the Almanac because of Matt's say-so, and because, let's face it, he's kind of paid off to this point. Another big, fast guy, I guess he's pretty fast, Caleb Douglas. As much as we want to say these teams are going to fall out of love with these rookies as soon as they really need precision out of them, all anybody seems to be able to say is that the only things are sure is that Caleb Douglas and Malik Washington are the 2 receivers that are going to start for Miami, and everybody else need not apply. I know that shouldn't be worth something. To me, it kind of is.
It could be. I certainly, and it can't hurt at the place that you're going to draft. You're counting on using. Yeah. You're probably going to look at churn and pick somebody else up off the waiver wire. So if you want to, why not? Because they might even, the way I saw them use Caleb Douglas in the preseason was in really soft windows of zone, and where they put him in the inside in that, like I said, the Galladay chase role, where it's like run an inside route, or start inside and break outside and use your size to win. It's not, high proficiency route running that they're asking him to do. So if he can catch the ball and he's fast enough, sure, that might work out just fine. I would just say this, okay? Malik Willis. That's probably all I need to say. But I'll add one little quick thing is he had some good numbers in Green Bay. Just remember that Green Bay basically mashed the offense up in a way where it was like, let him read one side of the field, 2 reads and run at best. And I don't think Malik Willis is going to turn out to be the guy that finds his second and third read. And the second and third read is probably going to be Greg Dulcich and then Caleb Douglas. So if I'm going to, if it's not, or it's going to be Washington or Dulcich at that point. If it's not, and I would just warn other people, I'm just going to say this, just public service announcement. I know people love Devon Achane, and he's a terrific player. But think about this offense is probably going to run a lot of play action, rolling their quarterback to one side. And when you do that, your running backs usually lost in the mix or going to the other side of the field. And they're only going to throw these throwbacks like,
once
6 or 7 times in a season before, and he might get 2 of them. I don't think he's going to get more than half of the receptions that he got last year. And then he's just overvalued, not because of his ability, but because of the offense and the personnel. So yeah, I mean, I would rather take a shot on Washington in like the late rounds, or even if you want to go with Douglas because you want to ride the momentum, sure, why not?
Right. Yeah, I mean, these guys are all ranked outside my top 150 overall. They're not really standard league guys, but their names everybody's getting tattooed with all day long, every day. And so just getting some context for all right, don't get crazy, but these are the ones Matt likes and the ones he doesn't. Last name on my list, because once again, there's a lot of talk. It's the third receiver job, not the second like Caleb Douglas might have, but it's a much better quarterback. Colby Young has a potential over Andre Yoshivas. What's your Colby Young impression?
Well, I mean, look, Miami, Georgia, big, certainly can go up and win the ball. He's got some skill after the catch because of his power, but he's not like the sudden twitchy athlete that Malachi Fields is. And I think he's kind of more of the wide receiver 4. I think Yoshivas is going to nail that roll down. I think that you're seeing just some nice catches in camp, and that's all that really is. So, yeah, I mean, and I'll add a player who I think is better than a running back we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the Washington Commanders. Robert Henry is someone that I would keep an eye on for your waiver wire, just because I think he's actually the best rookie back that they drafted. And they didn't draft him; they signed him to a UDFA contract. But I think he's the best back on there, and does a pretty mean Aaron Jones imitation himself.
All right, Robert Henry. We're sticking that on the bottom of the list. All these names are in today's show notes. We didn't talk about Katron Allen, who obviously you almost said his name because you like it, Robert Henry more, on the same team. And yes, I know everybody out there, you're groaning because we didn't get to the rookie you wanted to hear us talk about. There's no Jeremy Bernard. Oh no, it's a disaster. Well, all you have to do, MattWaldmanRSP.com, for all your Matt Waldman needs, because his opinions will all appear in the various products and shows that he produces for you with his hard-earned brain. So don't you worry at all. You get all of Matt's takes on all the rookies. We didn't talk about Cyrus Allen. Oh, no. Yeah.
That's the Mouse Morrison of wide receiver prospects right there.
Well, that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut, everybody out there. Deep cut. Matt's almost done with Pound Foolish, so just hold on to your butts. So anyway, MattWaldmanRSP.com is where I'm urging everybody to go. And thank you so much for wonderful insights on all of these young men. And most of them we're not drafting, but we have a good sense of them, and maybe some we are. And Carnell Tate might be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for doing this once again, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you so much for listening. Let's thank the 3 sponsors that made today's show possible. We had Ridge for the Ridge wallet, the 2.0 that I have. That's lovely. And other Ridge stuff. Remember to go to ridge.com, enter. You can win a car. Don't have to buy anything. We also had Quo for a great phone system to help retain customers and make them happier, and Dose if you're worried about your cholesterol levels. You can find information about today's sponsors in the show notes. You can find all the current sponsors at harrisfootball.com. I thought it was pretty amazing, and maybe an example of like karma or something that I start the show talking about rejection and feeling positive, trying to feel positive about opportunities and things like that. And then someone as amazing as Matt says a little nice thing about Pound Foolish that he's reading right now, and it just all melts away. It's just so lovely. And thank you to Matt for that. And thank you to all of you. I have some winners to announce here. Let's actually, winners plural, let's do 2 winners. First, so this is people who have pre-ordered Pound Foolish and sent me a screen cap to Harris at harrisfootball.com. If you want to win a Zoom with me, that's how you're going to do it, because we've done 3 of them so far, and 1 more announced right now. A long-time listener, Jason McComb. This is all random number generated. Jason, we may have done Zooms in the past, or maybe not, but I certainly know Jason, and looking forward to that. And so look for an email from me. We'll set that up. And then how about like a hat, a Yacht Possum hat or a shirt? And the winner of that drawing was Kyle Lanzett. And so I've emailed both Jason and Kyle, and congratulations. I mean, what an honor. If you would like to be entered, to be bribed, harrisfootball.com. Look up Pound Foolish. You'll find all the instructions that you need. And by the way, I am absolutely burying the lead, and I need to lead tomorrow's show off with this, because next week I am on tour. I am doing meetups in the western part of the United States, and I would really love it if you would come hang out with me, because I have no idea how many people are going to show up. You can find all the dates, all the times, all the places at harrisfootball.com. There's a tour graphic on there. But suffice it to say, if Tacoma, Washington on Sunday, all these are going to be at 7 p.m. local time. Portland on Tuesday, Vegas on Wednesday, and Scottsdale, Arizona on Thursday, 7 p.m. next week. Oh man, I got 6 flights in 5 days, and I'm going to make a podcast from the hotel rooms each morning before I go do a flight in a new city. So it's going to be quite a week. So if you have a chance to show up, if you think you might be able to show up, I would love it if you'd show up. I'm going to do a reading from the book. It'll be, 20 minutes max, I would say. And then just a regular meetup like we've done many, many times, just not in these cities. So if you've always wished that I would come to your city and you're near those places, I sure do hope that you'll join. We'll mingle. I'll meet everybody for sure. And look forward to meeting a bunch of people. So please do check out that tour graphic. That's going to do it for this Monday episode. It was quite fun to hear Matt talk about all those rookies. And now it's time to talk about ADP. Coming up on Tuesday, Dave Kluge is going to join, and Dave and I are each going to count down our 5 biggest surprises when it comes to ADP. I will have finally cracked it wide open and taken a look at ADP such as it is, because it is wildly varied depending on your site, but we're going to do our best to give you the players who are most surprising to us when it comes to ADP. Looking forward to that on Tuesday. Until then, thanks again so much for listening. Your hat is awesome. You're awesome for wearing it. I will talk to you tomorrow.
The Harris Football Podcast's opening theme is Under the Gun by Apex Manor. The closing theme is Say Yes by The Wellspring. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and never miss an episode.